Your thoughts?
What? What? Who?
Nice.
I needed my water, I'm sorry. 9:04 on this Wednesday morning, the 10th day of July. CJ Nasello, it's our daily show right here on RiverBender.com and on Roku TV. Anywhere, everywhere you get this show, you watch it. So many of you do. Thanks for tuning in. We got a good one for you. Going to be talking to Lacy McDonald for This Week in Local History at 10:10, and then at 10:35, we're going to be talking to former Mayor Brant Walker, who recently announced his candidacy for the 2025 mayoral race for the city of Alton. We'll get his insights on the reason to run again and his plans for the city going forward if elected. We'll talk all about that in the 10 o'clock hour. In the meantime, it's just you, me, and the 4 walls that surround us and top of the hour news right here at 9:04. Make sure you sign up for that daily email update where you can join myself and 70,000 people that are in the know each and every day of the work week and on Saturdays with Around the Riverbend. We'll take you to Granite City first. St. Louis police responded to an alert about a suspicious character armed and perched atop a downtown parking garage rooftop on the 4th of July. Tristan Sappington, 23 of Granite City, was quickly arrested, overlooking a large parade crowd. Authorities described Sappington as possibly having a mental health crisis. His intentions remain unknown. Sappington was in violation of St. Louis's new open carry ban and was found with one stolen semi-automatic pistol. He is also cited for an expired tags violation. Madison County State's Attorney Tom Hain confirmed a petition to revoke Sappington's pretrial release from another incident that transpired. RiverBender.com will keep you up to date and in the know on both of those cases moving forward. You can stay up to date by going to RiverBender.com/news. The Jersey County Fair Parade and all related activities were canceled in Jerseyville yesterday. Fair President Phil Ringhausen confirmed the decision, and he highlighted concerns for public safety and the challenging conditions at the fairgrounds. While last night's talent show may be rescheduled for Sunday, the parade is unlikely to be rebooked due to logistical constraints. The cancellation is a rare event for the fair, with only 2 similar instances in the past. Despite last night's disruptions, today's activities, including the 2024 Miss and Little Miss Jersey County Fair Queen pageant, will proceed as scheduled. For updates, you can visit the fair's website and Facebook page. At 9:06, roll out the barrel and you'll find more than just fun at Secondhand Barrel. This family-owned woodworking business in Godfrey, run by Ryan and Faith Jenkins, specializes in crafting high-quality furniture and home decor from repurposed barrels. Starting as a hobby in 2011, SHB has grown into a full-time endeavor, moving from a single-car garage to the current location on Stenka Lane. Known for their exceptional customer service, those unique designs, the company has built a strong reputation through relationships and creative marketing. However, they face challenges in sourcing bourbon barrels due to the rise of craft brewing. Despite this, SHB continues to expand, blending traditional craftsmanship with modern technology, and were the Godfrey Business Spotlight for RiverBender.com. I'm sure we'll talk to former Mayor Walker about this today. Former Mayor Brant Walker has criticized Alton's current administration for its lack of transparency regarding the sinkhole at Gordonmore Park. Walker highlighted the administration's failure to provide residents with basic information, leading to widespread rumors. He pointed to a recent closed meeting with New Frontiers Materials, which excluded city council members and the press. As an example of poor leadership, Walker emphasized the importance of transparency during crisis. Referencing his own tenure managing significant floods and the COVID-19 pandemic, he called for the administration to communicate openly with the public and stakeholders about this situation. Finally, in the news today at 9:08, Dennis Copperwood Jr., 20, from Statler Avenue in St. Louis, has been identified in a homicide that occurred on Monday, July the 8th at Lucas and Hunt Road. St. Louis County Police reported that Copperwood was found with life-threatening gunshot injuries in the parking lot of Statler Avenue. Despite being transported to a local area hospital, he was later pronounced deceased. The investigation is ongoing, and authorities urge anyone with information to contact the St. Louis County Police Department or Crime Stoppers to remain anonymous and potentially receive an award. That's a look at your newscast for this Wednesday morning. Let's take a look at weather. Man, yesterday was something, wasn't it? I'm a big rain guy, so I just loved every bit of the afternoon. I sat there with the movies on and just relaxed. Hey, today it's going to be partly sunny, breezy, and warmer. A passing afternoon shower could be in the works today. Tonight, mainly clear. A shower in spots early this evening, followed by a thunderstorm in spots later on tonight. Temperatures right now are at 73 degrees. It does feel like 82 in downtown Alton. The humidity at 91%. Whew. No wonder I'm sticking to my shirt. Visibility for 10 miles, Brian Trust. Your air quality is ranked as good today. Grass is low, mold low, ragweed low. Tree levels low, and the UV index is very, very high. So put the sunscreen on if you're going outside. Temperatures reach 86 degrees today, drop down to 65 overnight as we head into Thursday. On Thursday, a 40% chance of thunderstorms, mostly overnight. A high of 85, a low of 66 degrees. On Friday, a high of 87 degrees, a low of 70. On Saturday, a 55% chance of rain, a high of 87, a low of 70 degrees yet again. And then on Sunday, partly sunny skies, a high of 95, getting warmer again, and then a low of 74. That's a look at your time and temperature. Throughout the day, you can call 618-465-4545. This time powered by Tom Wayne. He is your local State Farm agent. Before I take a quick break, a couple of things I got to talk about today. Number one, I go over to this convenience store across the street all the time. I see the Cake Boss cakes, right? You guys have seen them too. I got to tell you this story because before I do my live read and we get into business mode here, I have never had one, and I get curious because you see the cakes. They look awesome in those red packages, those Cake Boss packages that are over at the convenience store at Max. I'm telling you what, I was kind of curious the other day. We were sitting there, and I was over there at Max, and I had to try one. Oh, my God. I mean, I'm kind of sold on these Cake Boss cakes. You let them sit out for about 10, 15 minutes, let them get warmed up. If you haven't gone and tried one yet, go over to the convenience store, go over to Max, and pick up a cake. You will thank me later. I had to. After 2 years of seeing this, I had to finally do it. Best decision I made on a Monday night. Then, want to give a big shout out to Brian Trust. I've been having some really kind of just not serious car issues, but really aggravating ones and irritating ones to where, you know, some days the car drove perfect. Some days it was just kind of puttering along. And I'm like, what's going on? I called Brian because, listen, I ain't a millionaire. I host a local talk show, you know. So I called him. I said, man, I don't know what I got to do here. I don't know if, I don't know how much this is going to cost. And the cool thing was, he just said, man, you just come over here and bring it to the shop and we'll see what we need to do for you. And whether or not you see him on the show or you see him out in the street, that Brian's just that genuine. That Brian you get on your screen is the Brian that I get when I call for a favor, that I call for help. And you can listen to Brian Trust live on Thursdays from 2 to 3 p.m. with the You're Beautiful show, where it's all about going a little bit more in depth into who we are as people, exploring faith, some other really interesting topics. And I highly encourage you to check it out at 2 p.m. on RiverBender.com on Thursdays for You're Beautiful with Brian Trust. Now, before I send you to Skycam and take a quick break. Man, you guys are dinging my phone this morning. Scotty McCreary, get your tickets now for the live concert August the 9th. because this is one you don't want to miss. Cabin of Solo, Rise and Fall, that album is just kicking butt and taking names. And Scotty McCreery is going to add to the lineage of artists that have played right here on our riverfront. I mean, we've gone down the list before. Leonard Skinner, Better Than Ezra, the Beach Boys, Boys to Men, Vanilla Ice, Charlie Daniels, Kenny Rogers, Under the Sun Tour with Uncle Cracker and Sugar Ray. I mean, I can keep going on and on and on. Steve Miller Band, Nelly, Scotty McCreery. Think about all these artists that are bigger artists. I mean, these guys are on the big-time radio stations, and they're coming in and playing at our amphitheater and really giving us that summer night. You know, I mean, we already had the MRF, and that was great, and now we keep our music and event calendar going all summer long at the Alton Amphitheater, this time powered by the Amphitheater Commission. August the 9th, Scotty McCreery tickets. Get them now at metrotix.com. That's metrotix.com. Plus, there's a great promo, and we're getting ready to release it here soon. You're going to save some money, I think. And that's courtesy of the Alton Amphitheater Commission and Eventive. For more information, go to MetroTix, get your Scotty McCreery tickets, and thank me at the show, because I'll be there doing a pre-show and just going to have a lot of fun with it. Man, I'm just really looking forward to it. Hey, while I have you, though, let's take a look at Skycam. And we'll come back. More of our daily show on a Wednesday right after this on RiverBender.com and on Roku TV.
Everybody got somebody to lean on. Put your body next to mine.
When I got in the car accident at the ER, they gave me a prescription of hydrocodone. And over time, it took more medication to mask the pain. I moved over to drug seeking and found heroin and fentanyl. I went to the Centerstone rehab facility, and it was the best decision I ever made in my life. I have my own car, I have a job, there's nothing holding me back anymore.
Dream Home Realty Center.
Hey Sherry, talk to me, Dream Team. We've got showing.
Yo, what up? It's Mike Keith, the proud graduate of Lewis and Clark Community College. I got my start in broadcasting and now I work all over the country. I discovered my path in media, but I could have been an electrician. Or I could have been a nurse.
Maybe not.
We are Phillips 66 Wood River Refinery. We make the fuels that take us to work and our children to school. We make materials and energy products that allow us to stay connected to each other. We care about the quality and safety of our products because we care about the communities we share. Our employees live our values of safety, honor, and a commitment to act as good neighbors where we live and operate. We are Phillips 66.
Welcome back to Our Daily Show. Here's CJ. You're listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com.
Welcome back. Oh, 9:12 on this Friday morning. Dr. Christy Limley, how are we doing today?
I'm doing well. How about yourself, CJ?
Well, I'm doing great. I just want to point out to the audience, this is the first time that somebody that had the title of doctor said, you don't have to call me doctor. I love it. You're awesome. I just think this is great. So, Living in the Light Ministries, fill me in on this. Is this, I know a little bit about it just from my research. kind of just the other day, but a blaze is a really great opportunity for folks to really be a part of something bigger than themselves. And now with this launching, I mean, there's events popping up all the time.
There are, and we're very excited. I've been in ministry since 2003.
Oh, wow.
That's when I incorporated Living in the Light Ministries. I've been ordained as an evangelist since 2009. And the Lord just put it on my heart. I also owned a counseling practice.
Oh, wow.
And so for 20-some years, I recently sold it so I could travel full-time internationally, locally, nationally, preaching the gospel, telling people that there is hope. And so my heart really is for the community, to reach people who are hurting, to help ignite people just to love Jesus more and to find the answers to life's questions.
Right. Well, how did you get involved in ministry in 2003? Were you always someone that was religious, or was this something that found you?
Well, I grew up Lutheran.
Okay.
And I would take walks at night, CJ, going, God, there's got to be more. There has to be more than just the daily grind of constantly going to work, waking up the next morning and doing it again. And so I just really started reading the Bible and started praying, like, Lord, if there is more, show me. And he did. And my whole life radically transformed. I mean, I used to be the life of the party. I used to be a big partier and felt that happiness could be found in things and activities. And I had some things happen in my past also that were kind of difficult. And so I just needed to find healing in my heart from situations that happened in my life, but also just carrying the shame and guilt. That I carried for things that I did, regrets that I had. And when I just kept seeking the Lord and just praying, the Lord removed that heaviness of shame and guilt. And then it was like, I have to tell everybody that that is possible.
Well, and how difficult was it for you to start telling people that? You know, because to me, I totally understand it, because, you know, you always, there's something else out there, and you're battling your tribulations, you know, and you're trying to keep your faith is the most important. And then now you're feeling comfortable, everything's coming together. Was it difficult for you to spread that message afterwards? Were there some hesitations or some hangups, or did you hit the ground running?
Well, I think both.
Okay.
I think I hit the ground running, but at the same time, initially there were kind of hesitations like, will people see me differently?
Yeah.
Will people, you know, when they hear my story that I was on the road to becoming an alcoholic? I wasn't yet, but I was on that road if the Lord wouldn't had intervened in my life. And so that part, you know, can be a little difficult sharing with people who don't really know me at first, but there is hope.
Yeah.
And with a blaze that we are doing, we're in multiple, we're in 6 counties. We've done 3. Now we're going to Greene County, Jersey County, and Madison County. And our message really just is of hope. So we're trying to draw in individuals who may be struggling with depression, fear, anxiety, marital issues, addictions. Like, we've seen people come to the services who are in active addiction, and the Lord delivers them.
Wow.
And
what's that feeling like when you see that happening? You know, because I could only imagine, you know, the first time you experience that, you know, it's one you will never forget. You know,
absolutely. I mean, it's life altering. There is such a peace, CJ, and a joy that happens. And the weight of the world is lifted. Like, even people who may not be in addictions, it's just the everyday life, the heaviness of life, medical conditions, family problems, the stress of parenting, and all the things out there right now. It is just such a powerful thing to feel the heaviness lift.
Well, and now take me through how Ablaze came together. How did this organization form? Was this something that was a thought-out process that was kind of years in the making, or was this a decision that was, you know, kind of, hey, this is a great idea, let's do it?
It has been in the year in the making.
I bet.
I've been praying over it, and then I took it to my leadership and said, I have this. I feel like that this is something I'd like to do. And they are the ones, I thought maybe I'd do 1 county or 2 counties.
Yeah.
And my leadership, Pastor Phil Schneider, was like, I would like you to do 6 counties this year. And I was like, oh my goodness. But it's very exciting because I pastor with local pastors and local churches. And so the whole service in itself is opened by a pastor. Actually, the mayor is going to be opening the service at the Alton Amphitheater.
Oh, really cool.
Yes, and we have local teams do worship. Local church teams do worship. And then we have a testimony of somebody whose life has been transformed. And then I preach the gospel. And then we have a time for prayer at the end for people who need that individual prayer.
Yeah.
But we also have a separate prayer tent that people can go to at any point during the service and just say, hey, I need prayer now.
How many individuals have you encountered that are really just not really, maybe battling addiction? Maybe they just don't know what's going on. Maybe they're just lost, and not, maybe lost, spiritually, but just lost in general, where it's like you said, you're working and, you get up and you put the hat on the next day and you do it again, you take it off, you do it again. How many folks just come just to feel connection?
A lot of people.
Yeah.
I mean, because not everybody who comes has a major life crisis going on. They're individuals who maybe just want more out of life. Or they're weary or tired. I mean, the grind of life. Right? And so people are just coming because they just want to encounter God. And that's the Ablaze slogan. Ablaze, encounter the presence of God. And when people come on to the presence where we're doing the services, they're like, I just feel so much peace. Like, I feel something here. I feel something alive here.
Well, and take me through. Now, is the first one coming up? We already had one?
We already did 3.
Oh, 3? Where have I been? So you've definitely you're halfway to your number and then some.
We are.
Wow.
We are. So we're excited. The first 3,
Whoa.
we have seen people who have come with back pain. Because one of the things we do is we also pray for physical healing. And we have seen people come with back pain and leave with no pain. Now, I'm not saying they were physically healed, but they had improvements.
Yeah.
And so they came with pain and left without pain. Because we believe in the power of prayer. And so we pray for physical healing. We pray for those who are struggling with fear, depression, maybe even anger or feeling bitter. And people have left feeling free and not feeling the heaviness of that. And then others have come and they have just been re-energized, and the weariness and the heaviness of life has broken off, and now they have so much more joy and are just excited for life again.
Well, and now take me through this. I'm on ablaze.global, which is on the bottom of the screen for y'all to follow along with at home. And I see that there are not 1, 2, or 3, but there are 5 more opportunities to come and be a part of this. That's where I got distracted. I was like, wait a minute, 6 and you already did 3. What was the first event like? Because I know that's nerve-wracking regardless of how much experience you have. And what was that couple of minutes like when you're first, getting the event underway?
It was pretty surreal, CJ. It was like walking on. We did the first one in Greenville for Bond County at the fairgrounds, and we had 120 some people show up.
Wow!
And for me, it was very surreal. It was like something I prayed for, and I've been praying for every person who comes. They've already been prayed for, that they would have an encounter with God because God sees them. And for me, that was a very pivotal thing of knowing that God gives us hopes and dreams, and He wants to see those fulfilled.
Yeah.
And so to see, we had 4 baptisms because we had a baptismal available, which we don't have one in every county. But it was just powerful to see people recognize that there is hope.
Yeah. Well, and that's the most important thing right now. I mean, you turn on the television, no matter what news channel you watch, you need a lot of hope right now. And not even just that, but, the way that the world's going, wherever, one's moving at lightning speed, your kids are moving even faster now, and all the sports are moving faster, and work is, and how do you manage all of that and manage your stress and sanity at the same time? What a wonderful opportunity. Now, is this open to any denomination of religion? Can, Catholics come, Baptists, the whole 9 yards?
Anybody can come. And that's the beauty of Ablaze, is it's completely free, open to everybody. We've had people who didn't even believe in Jesus, who came and just wanted to check it out. It is open to everybody. And in Jersey, we're next in Greene County and Carrollton. And then in Jersey County, we're going to be in Jerseyville and Grafton. And then in Madison County, because it's larger with more people, we're going to be in Edwardsville, Granite City, and then we end the whole summer at the Alton Amphitheater.
So let's talk about this. Coming up on Sunday, July the 14th, is the next opportunity for you to be a part of Ablaze, the free countywide event. Bring your own lawn chair.
Yes.
And this is July the 14th at 6 p.m. Free hot dogs, chips, and water before the service. It's at the Greene County Courthouse. Did I say that right?
Yes.
Am I right?
Yes.
Whew, I was getting nervous. I normally botch one of these, and that's at 519 North Main Street in Carrollton Square. That's a beautiful spot. That is have you been up there?
Yes.
It's
Yes,
so
we
beautiful.
have.
So beautiful. And now take me through what is being offered throughout the service. How does it start? What's it kind of look like?
Okay, what it kind of looks like is it begins with a local pastor opening up the service, just welcoming people, praying over the whole event, just kind of inviting people to join into the process. And then there is live worship.
Okay.
We have a local worship band usually that will be playing and singing songs that are more contemporary. And so we have about 3 or 4, maybe 15, 20 minutes of just singing and worship. And then we have somebody who shares a testimony, their life story about what happened in their life, either when they invited the Lord into their heart or when they just continued to pray and seek the Lord and walked out a difficult time. Because the Lord can instantly deliver and heal, and sometimes it's a process. And so we have somebody who just shares what the Lord did in their life.
Well, and I think that's a really important notion, is to have those testimonials, because I know, and we've all been in that path where, even though we might not want to admit it, for some of us, where we're looking up and going, why now? What did I do? I'm sorry, I don't know what's going on, and it might not be a disastrous, event that happened, but just a series of kind of just stressful scenarios that lead to people just feeling kind of drowned, and to hear any testimonial, whether it's, it was a year-long process. I prayed for 10 years and I finally got an answer I was praying, and then all of a sudden, right when I was praying, something happened and I connected with it. That's great for anybody to hear.
It is. And a lot of times, CJ, we feel like we are alone. Nobody will understand. I'm struggling. And if people know I'm struggling, then what are they going to think about me?
Yeah.
And so the whole process is just to recognize that we believe Jesus is the answer to life's problems. And I don't want to say kind of proving it, but proving it.
Yeah.
And saying, well, here's how he intervened in my life. And people need to know, especially because of COVID and because of just the way the world is, people are very isolated. And it's an opportunity to come together and to recognize nobody battles alone, that there are people who care about them. And bigger than that, to know that there's a God who sees them and sees right where they are and their struggle. So then after the testimony, I share a story from the Bible.
Okay. Does it have to do with the testimony, or is it just one that you pick?
It's one that I usually feel led to share about.
Okay.
Sometimes it's similar, but sometimes it's completely different because there's a lot of different people there with different issues, but God sees them all. And then at the end, we offer prayer for individuals. We offer if people hear the message and they're like, you know what? I want to give Jesus a try. I've tried everything else. I've tried on my own. So why not try this?
Yeah.
We have prayer for them there. And the beautiful part is that there are local pastors at the altar. I'm the one who does the preaching. My ministry might be the one who's organizing this, but the answer is the local church and getting people connected to a body of believers. And so that's why it's my heart to have local pastors there. That they can meet in that moment, and if they're not plugged into a church, then they can find one.
I really like that component of it. I mean, I really do. That, I think, is the for me, the best part of this is it's not, well, just follow us, along to X, Y, and Z, which is great if you do. Please, come and support that. But you aren't saying, all right, now grab onto the caravan here and we're just going to take you with us. Connecting to those local churches, creating their own local community, because the church community is one of the strongest in any township or region. And that's so important. And just connecting them. What have the pastors thought? And just the first 3 that you've done with having those conversations, maybe with folks they've never even met before that want to go to their church.
It's been beautiful.
Yeah.
One of the things that happened is there was a guy in active addiction who gave his heart to Jesus, and he was talking with a local pastor, but he actually lived in a city of another local pastor that was present. And so he introduced him to the other pastor. The other pastor was able to baptize him. And now I went and visited that church a couple weeks ago, and actually last weekend. And that gentleman that gave his heart to Jesus is now involved in that local church.
That's wonderful.
That is the beauty of it. Because CJ, Dr. Christy Lemley is not the answer.
Right.
Jesus is.
Right.
And so I don't want it to ever be about me. That's why you don't find my name on any of the posters, flyers, on the website. It's not about me because I'm not the answer. I have the answer, which I believe is Jesus.
Right.
But it's not me.
You know, honestly, this is really cool because just the way that you go about it, I mean, really keeping to that message is so important because honestly, Christy, I'll be honest with you. I Googled you and I'm like, all right, no, where's her Ablaze? Is she a part of it? What is Ablaze? Because there's no Dr. Christy Lemley anywhere. It's just Ablaze. There is hope and it has the details. And that's what's important because you aren't deterring from the mission and the message. And that is what so many people do so many times, maybe inadvertently doing it or inadvertently doing it. But you aren't, and that's awesome.
No, they can find out on our website. It says who we are.
Yeah.
Then you can kind of see who's involved that way under who we are.
Yeah.
But I don't want it to be about me because I think nowadays we have too many celebrities in the Christian world.
We got a lot. How do you feel about it? Because to me, and I'm a raised Catholic and all, and I think it's, great if you want to, share people your faith and how wonderful it's been for you and maybe even doing some prayer stuff. But I always get a little bit of a hang up whenever someone's profiting on it too, and that's kind of where I'm at with the celebrities. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
Well, again, it should be all about Jesus. And we should point people to him and not ourselves. I am not a self-promoter. I don't like that. No. And so for me, I just love Jesus. And CJ, if you had the cure to childhood cancer, would you keep it secret?
No.
And so if we believe Jesus is the answer, we shouldn't keep it secret.
Absolutely not.
And so for me, it's all about lifting him up and his name and who he is and his character and not mine.
Well, and now take me through some of the leadership team, if you could, for Ablaze. Who can we meet at some of these upcoming events?
Well, hopefully a whole bunch of local pastors.
Yeah, that too. Do they show up to some of the local events, though, part of the Ablaze team?
Part of the Ablaze team. I mean, we have the coordinator of Ablaze, which is Lacy McDonald. We have our security team, which is headed by two wonderful gentlemen, Butch McGill and Mike Lieberger. We also have an information booth where people can go to and find out more about the local churches who are partnering with us. And Lori Palmer does that. We have our music coordinator who kind of works with our sound system and the local teams, and he also does the altar time, and that's Rodney Palmer. We also have parking assistants, which is my husband, Craig. I mean, we have local prayer teams, and we also have my prayer team that prays for Living in the Light Ministries. That really is the Ablaze Encounter the Presence of God is under Living in the Light Ministries.
Yes.
So I have my own Living in the Light Ministry prayer team, but we also have prayer teams for each county.
Wonderful.
That are praying for their own county, praying for their own cities.
Yeah.
So, yes.
That's really huge, though. And I was just scrolling down, though, and I'm on the website now, ablaze.global. And actually, here, we'll go together so you guys can see. I was just going down and seeing some of the leadership team and just scrolling through. But also, folks, click on the homepage, and then you'll see that Hope is available. You can see a video of some of the events that have taken place. And then plus, at the bottom, I saw it eventually. Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's a video. That's a 30-second video that just says who should come and what is it about.
Yeah, and then coming up, too, details for all the upcoming shows or upcoming events where you can go starting July 14th. And Carrollton Square is beautiful. I love Carrollton. I just think it's a great spot. Then you guys are moving.
We are. we are.
Oh, my gosh.
CJ, at the end of June, we did 6 services in 10 days. My poor team was exhausted. I was exhausted because we set up and tear down for each one of these.
Yeah.
And so that should tell people something, that if people are willing to give up their summer.
Yeah, literally give up. You are.
We are. We're giving up our summer to tell people that there's hope.
How many have you had the individual yet that's just kind of cold? You know what I'm saying? Where
Absolutely.
they kind of come in and they're just, nothing's going to change at all. Take me through if you had an experience with someone who really just had every hang up and every kind of just throw it to the wind mentality. Have you seen some deliverance there?
We have. There's a lady that came that was a heroin addict for 10 years. I got to pray with her at the altar. And so after I speak, then I say, if you want to come up for prayer, come to the altar. And she came to the altar and she said, I was a heroin addict for 10 years. I got clean. But then I started drinking alcohol. And she said, Christy, I have this pattern where I can be clean for a year or two, but then I always relapse back. And in that moment, I just felt the Lord say, ask her what's in her past. And so I just looked at her, and as a counselor too, I get this.
100%.
And I just felt in my heart from the Lord, just, ask her about her past. And so I said, what happened to you in your past that you haven't let go of or it's not healed? And she just looked at me and she shared a little bit. And I'm like, okay, but I feel like there's more.
Yep.
And so she shared, and so I said, are you ready to give it all to the Lord and ask him to come in and heal that wound in your heart? And she said yes. And so we prayed, and she looked at me and she just raised her hands and she said, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Jesus. I praise you. And she looked at me and she said, I feel completely lighter. Like, I don't know really what happened, but I feel lighter. And she said, who would have thought me coming to a service like this could change my life?
And I'm sure there's so many testimonials just like hers. And, to me, though, we always talk about going out and helping somebody. And, helping doesn't really giving somebody a sandwich and $20 because you filmed them giving them the money, how some of these influencers do now. It's putting on a service and keeping your doors open. Because if the doors are open, they're going to be led to you eventually, And I think that goes so much further into just helping the community, because I'm sure, even though not everything, you might not have been, even if it was, it might be cured and everything's great and we're moving forward and hitting the ground running. Even if it's not, even if it's just 60%. She's going to go home and use those tools that you guys just worked on and trust the power of prayer and having those spiritual feelings. And all of a sudden, her life's completely changed.
Yes. And that's the point of us doing them outside of a church.
Yeah.
Yes, we've been ridiculed. We've had people say things. But my heart really is getting to where the people are.
Yep.
Outside of the church walls.
Yep. Because they're scary for some people.
They are, and I recognize that, and I realize that. I mean, getting my doctorate and going through that whole process, my whole doctoral dissertation was on revival. Mm-hmm. And so for me, it's getting to where hurting people are, getting to where people are that maybe just need renewed. Maybe there's nothing big going on, and they come to a service, and nothing spectacular happens within them, but they just feel renewed.
Exactly. And, I've always said this too. It doesn't matter if you have a $10 million budget for every one of your events. It doesn't matter if you have a $15 budget. Go to where the people need you.
Yes. Yeah. And what was cool when we were in Hillsborough in Montgomery County, we were on the square, we were in the plaza, and there were 3 bars within earshot. And so we just turned on the sound system. We had worship, I preached, and 2 ladies came out of a bar to hear the gospel. And so my heart is just to get to where people are. Yeah. And even if they're not technically in the service, like we saw people driving around the square with their windows down just hearing. And so some people still are a little hesitant to want to come, but we know the sound waves are going out and people can still hear.
I just love this. And let's go through. We've already been talking for 28 minutes. I'm sorry about that. So let's talk about upcoming dates. I just flashed them on the screen again, but we'll go through them again. So Sunday, July the 14th is the next upcoming opportunity. And this is at the Greene County Courthouse, 519 Marion Street, right on Carrollton Square. It's a beautiful spot. And then as you guys see here on the ablaze.global website, Jerseyville and Grafton, you're on tap.
They are. And we're very excited about we didn't realize we were going to go to Grafton and that door opened. And so we're going to be right where the lift is for the to go up to the winery.
Yeah.
We're going to be right on the road. And we're very excited. We're excited about being in Edwardsville at the City Park Bandstand.
That's a beautiful spot they got.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
And then in Wilson Park for Granite City at the Centennial Pavilion.
And that's on August the 3rd if you're in Granite City, and if you're in Edwardsville, that's on August the 2nd. So July 26th, Jerseyville, July 27th, Grafton, August the 2nd at 6:30 p.m. in Edwardsville, and then August the 3rd in Granite, and that means the tour wraps up with The big venue, the Alton
Yes.
Amphitheater.
Yes, and we're just excited. So if you're listening and you're a local pastor or you go to a local church and you want your church to get involved, they can reach out to me at Christy@ablaze.global, and I would love to see a whole line of pastors at Ablaze to pray for people. We're also going to have a baptismal at the Alton service. We don't have them at all of them, but we will at the Alton service. So if you've never been baptized in water and you want to, come. We'll be doing that. But if you attend a local church, I would encourage you to invite your pastor to baptize you, because I think it's important for those that you walk through life with, be the ones who baptize you and not us. Again, it's not about us. And so if you've never been baptized in water and you want to be, invite your pastor to come baptize you.
I love this. I just love the fact that you're putting God first, because so many times when we talk about these type of ministries and all these events, there is some folks that kind of make it about themselves and don't put the real message out there. And the fact that all across the board, Christy, you're bringing in local pastors, you want folks to go to their local churches, you want people to be connected with their local community. And yeah, it's a Blaze is a great starting point to grab everybody and bring them together. And that's what I think you guys are doing so well at. You're staying to that mission. And I love it. I'm a big fan. And now going forward, are you doing 12 next year?
CJ, let's get through this summer because we've learned so much.
Have you really?
This is the first summer I've done like transformed services in churches. Like we've gone from church to church. This is the first time we've done outside. I've been invited, like I preach internationally also. I've been invited to go to India to do something like this, but we're getting through August 4th.
Good answer.
And then we will see what the Lord has in store. But I love knowing that sometimes we're just the spark.
Yeah.
We're just the spark. And what the Lord does after that, praise the Lord.
Well, and I can only imagine, Christy, in a year, maybe even 2 years, maybe even 3 years, somebody walking up to you, whether it's at the grocery store or whether it's them calling you and saying, you have no idea that day in August really changed my life. And that, to me, is more valuable than any price point you can slap on anything.
Absolutely. And the reason we want local pastors there is because if they don't know Jesus and they come that night and give their heart to Jesus, we want them in a local church so that they can grow in that relationship. Yeah. We don't just want a number. Oh, somebody gave their heart. That's a check for us for a salvation. We're not even keeping count of anything. That has been my heart.
I love it.
I mean, we've done a service with as little as 25 people in Hillsborough.
Yeah.
So for me, it's not the numbers. It's have I been obedient and is the presence of the Lord felt? That is success to me.
I love it.
Am I obedient and have people felt the presence of the Lord no matter how many people are there? But we do want them connected in a local church because when we leave, we want them walking in a community of believers, growing in their faith.
Well, and especially right now, because before I let you go, that's a huge thing, because you aren't going to grow if you're in an environment that doesn't allow you to. And if you're in an environment and I hate to say it, but maybe your best friends or maybe the comrades you have and all the bar mates or whoever you go hang out with, if they're keeping you shielded from it and kind of holding you back, you might need that community to kind of keep you on the right avenue going forward with your relationship. And I love that. I mean, I really do.
Yes, and people need to recognize that churches, I often hear, well, churches are full of hypocrites. Absolutely, we are all.
Yeah, totally.
Because nobody is perfect, and we have weaknesses, and we all need, life is hard. And just because we may believe in Jesus, that doesn't mean life is going to be easy. Actually, sometimes it can mean it's going to be a little bit harder.
Yes.
However, so we need a body of people that we can do life with and walk with. And so that is my heart. I still believe, and I will always believe, that the local church is the answer. I'm just kind of coming along with the spark. And because that's... we're all part of one body. And my role in the body is not as local pastor. My body is as an evangelist, as a revivalist, is to kind of bring the fire and the spark that gets things going. And so I'm just going to do my part and be me and allow others to step up and encourage others to step up into their role, into their part. And so that's the beauty of us coming together as the body of believers.
I just love this. And now, how can folks reach out? How can they stay connected and stay up to date on when events are happening, or just reach out to you because they want to connect their church with Ablaze and all of the great work you're doing?
They can go to ablaze.global and find out more information. If they want their church to get involved, because there are way too many pastors in Alton, Edwardsville, Granite City, for us to connect with all of them. But we would love for them to be there. So if you want your church involved, you can reach out to me at Christy@ablaze.global. If they want more information, they can just go to info@ablaze.global.
I love it. I'm a huge fan of this. Dr. Christy Limley, thank you so much for stopping by and just hanging out with me today. I really appreciate it, and I hope that the summer wraps up on a very good note and you get some much-needed rest afterwards.
Yes, I'm planning on taking a couple of days off, or at least that week off afterward. But thank you, CJ, for the invitation to be here. It has just been such a joy and a pleasure to be with you.
Well, we'll link everything on the RiverBender.com article, and we'll make sure that you all stay up to date. You can also check out the community calendar to say when Ablaze is coming closer to you. If you're in Granite, Edwardsville, or in Alton, you got a couple of weeks. But up next is Greene County at the Carrollton Courthouse, or the Greene County Courthouse in Carrollton Square, followed by Jerseyville and Grafton in a weekend. Then you're keeping on moving, and I'm a big fan. Seriously. 9:44, a little bit of change on this Friday morning. We'll take a quick break, and we're going to come back. I talked to Jackie Spiker this week, and I didn't realize really the wonderful work that Hope Rescue does, and I don't give me the little dunce hat on my head. I get it. They've been around for quite some time, but we had a really empowering conversation about just taking care of our furry friends, but also ways that you could win $15,000 while helping Hope Rescue. So let's take a quick break. We'll come back with this one and have some more fun on a Friday.
Since 1993, Sparks Junk Removal is always adapting to the needs of our clients. That is why we now offer weekly trash pickup for selected areas. Plus, we offer driveway-safe rubber-tired dumpster rental. Give us a call today at 618-781-1407 or visit us at sparksjunkremoval.net.
Macias Insurance Agency, providing quality products with extremely competitive prices. As an independent provider, we source multiple companies to offer the best rates possible, covering auto, home, business, and life insurance. Our goal is to provide quality service that meets and exceeds customer expectations. You can rest easy knowing the Macias team is working round the clock to ensure that both you and the most important parts of your life are covered. Our qualified professionals make the insurance process easy so you can live carefree and focus on what matters most. Visit MaciasInsuranceAgency.com today to find out what our team can do for you.
Not sure if you've noticed, but those advertised prices from the other dealers are just a bunch of blah, blah, blah. At Roberts Motors, the advertised price is the price you pay. And that, my friend, is great news for you. Don't fall for their so-called incentives that will leave you banging your head against the wall. Go with Roberts Motors. Prices you can trust and people you will like. That's the Roberts Motors way. And trust me, it's the way to go.
Has free checking become a thing of the past? Not if Liberty has anything to say about it. With 3 free personal checking options and even a free business checking account, Free is alive and well at Liberty Bank, the local bank that gives you free checking choices and more cashing in your pocket. Bank locally, bank Liberty. For more information, visit www.bankliberty.com.
RiverBender Radio has built 3 great new stations just for you in the Riverbend. The Eagle, the Riverbend's classic rock station. The Bridge, hit music for the Riverbend. And The River, today's country, and all your favorites. Check them out today at RiverBenderRadio.com.
Welcome back to our daily show. Here's CJ.
summertime when the weather is high, you can stretch right up and touch the sky. When the weather's fine, you got women on your mind.
9:52, welcome back. Wednesday morning hitting you right here on the nose on RiverBender.com. Roku TV, anywhere you get this show. Man, we keep growing, and life's just looking pretty darn good for a skinny guy from Alton. Hey, on this date, July the 10th in 1925 in Dayton, Tennessee, the so-called Scopes monkey trial began on this date with John Thomas Scopes, a young high school science teacher accused of teaching evolution in violation of Tennessee law. The law, which had been passed in March, made it a misdemeanor, punishable by fine, to teach any theory that denies the story of the divine creation of a man as taught in the Bible, and to teach instead that man has descended from a lower order of animals. With local businessman George Rapalia, Scopes had conspired to get charged with this violation, and after his arrest, the pair enlisted the aid of the American Civil Liberties Union to organize a defense. So this was planned. Hearing of this coordinated attack on Christian fundamentalism, William Jennings Bryan, the three-time Democratic presidential candidate and a fundamentalist hero, volunteered to assist the prosecution. Soon after, the great attorney Clarence Darrow agreed to join the ACLU in the defense, and the stage was set for one of the most famous trials in United States history. On July the 10th, the monkey trial got underway, and within a few days, hordes of spectators, reporters had descended on Dayton as preachers set up revival tents along the city's main street to keep the faithful stirred up. Inside the Ray County Courthouse, the defense suffered early setbacks when Judge John Ralston ruled against their attempt to prove the law unconstitutional, and then refused to end his practice of opening each day's proceeding with a prayer. Outside, Dayton took on a carnival-like atmosphere as an exhibit featuring two chimpanzees and a supposed missing link opened in town. And vendors sold Bibles, toy monkeys, hot dogs, and lemonade. The missing link was, in fact, Joe Vines of Burlington, Vermont, a 51-year-old male who was of short stature and possessed a receding forehead and a protruding jaw. One of the chimpanzees, named Joe Mendy, wore a plaid suit, a brown fedora, and white spats, and entertained Dayton citizens by literally monkeying around on the courthouse lawn. Now, in the courtroom, Judge Ralston destroyed the defense's strategy by ruling that expert scientific testimony on evolution was inadmissible on the grounds that it was Scopes who was on trial, not the law he had violated. Interesting. The next day, Ralston ordered that the trial move to the courthouse lawn, fearing that the weight of the crowd inside was in danger of collapsing the floor of the courtroom. In front of several thousand spectators in open air, Darrow changed his tactics, and his sole witness called Bryan in an attempt to discredit his literal interpretation of the Bible. In a searching examination, Bryan was subject to severe ridicule and forced to make ignorant and contradictory statements to the amusement of the crowd. On July 21st, in his closing speech, Darrow asked the jury to return a verdict of guilty in order that the case might be appealed under Tennessee law. Bryan was thereby denied the opportunity to deliver the closing speech, as he had been preparing for weeks. After just 8 minutes of deliberation, 8 minutes, the jury returned with a guilty verdict, and Ralston was ordered Scopes to pay a fine of $100, the minimum the law allowed. Although Bryan had won the case, he had been publicly humiliated, and his fundamentalist beliefs had been disgraced. 5 days later, he lay down on a Saturday afternoon nap on July 26th, and he never woke up. In 1927, the Tennessee Supreme Court overturned the monkey trial verdict on a technicality, but left the constitutional issues unresolved until 1968, when the Supreme Court overturned a similar Arkansas law on the grounds that it violated the First Amendment. That happened on this date, July the 10th, 25. That was just an interesting note. Also on this date in history, In 1893, in terms of black history, pioneering doctor performs successful open heart surgery. This was a pretty important feat on this date in 1893. In 2018, we all remember this one. The last of that Thai soccer team was rescued from that cave Man, what a story that gripped the world. In 1985, on July the 10th, 2 bombs sink the Rainbow Warrior Greenpeace's flagship vessel. That happened July the 10th, 1985. In 1943, during World War II, the Allies on July the 10th landed in Sicily. In 1962, the U.S. patent issued for the 3-point seatbelt. That's pretty important. On this date in 1940, the Battle of Britain begins during World War II. And in 1850, Millard Fillmore was sworn in as the 13th United States President, I believe. Zachary Taylor. I'm not for sure. I'm going to be wrong on that one. And finally, in 1889, buckskin Frank Leslie murders his lover. That was a big one on that date in history. See, any good ones in music real quick that we can get to because we're running low on time. On this date in 2015, John Fogerty, it doesn't matter. No, it will, because he'll be on stage talking about it somewhere and having people leave while they paid tickets to hear him sing. Countersued, alleging that his former bandmates in CCR had breached their contract in which he allowed them to use the name CCR while touring and playing the music they recorded together over 4 decades ago. Fogerty's actions claim that Creedence bassist Stu Cook and drummer Doug Clifford had not paid him in more than 3 years under the terms of the agreement they set up more than a decade ago. In 2011, a pub in Dundee, Scotland, called Lennon's Bar was forced to change the name of the venue and remove all Beatles memorabilia. The former Beatles wife, Yoko Ono, just a lovely woman, threatened legal action for copyright infringement, or said that she would just come to the pub and sing outside so no one would go in to patronize the place. In 2000, Coldplay released their debut album, Parachutes. 4 singles were released from the album: Silver, Trouble, and Don't Panic, along with, well, we got time, this song.
They were all yellow. I came along.
What a
I wrote a song for
pretty important song, man. That one kind of rocked the 2000s, didn't it? There you go. That's the big real music history for you on this date. And Yellow. Now, listen to this. This is what's interesting. The album won Grammy Award for Best Alternative Music Album in 2002, the British Album of the Year Award at the 2001 Brit Awards, and many other accolades. Parachute is also this 22nd best-selling album of the 21st century in the United Kingdom, and as of 2020, it sold over 13 million copies worldwide. On this date in 1986, Jerry Garcia of the Grateful Dead went into a 5-day diabetic coma, resulting in the band withdrawing from their current tour. In 1979, Chuck Berry sentenced to 5 months in jail after being found guilty of tax evasion. Berry was well known for demanding cash from concert promoters even before he'd go on stage, and this became cause for the IRS to be skeptical of Berry's tax returns, accusing him of income tax evasion. There you go. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back with top of the hour news on this 10th day of July right after this on RiverBender.com and on Roku TV.
We're solar pros. We explain the process behind solar power so you can make an informed decision. We'll work with you to make owning your power as simple as possible and affordable with zero down financing and payment options. Our only goal is to save you money. Call Grid when you're ready to be independent of the power company.
I had an amazing experience with Dr. Haug and her team. I came here when I was 10 years old to get my braces on. Now I'm 28 years old, braces off, and I get so many compliments on my smile. It's helped me thrive in my career as a news reporter, and also as Miss Missouri USA, I took the stage with confidence, knowing my smile was gonna make me look like $1 million. I've never felt better and more confident because of my smile.
Life's better when you're under the American Family Insurance roof because they know your house is home base for their dreams. Whether it's a kid like me aiming for the big leagues, ready? Future rocket scientist, or a budding prima ballerina. When you feel totally protected, your family's free to pursue their dreams. She's good.
Let's go.
American Family Insurance.
No matter the season, Play It Again Sports in Edwardsville has the gear the athletes need to get in the game. Whether you're shopping for the newest sports equipment or saving money on quality used gear, Play It Again Sports carries what you need to maximize performance to get the most out of every swing, kick, stroke, or shot. We'll even buy your used goods, paying cash on the spot. We carry all the gear for all the sports all year long. We're your hometown sporting goods store. Play It Again Sports, conveniently located at 4 Club Center Court in Edwardsville. Picture This and More has been a trusted name in the Alton community for more than 30 years, with the last 3 being right here on Broadway. We specialize in quality framing at affordable prices. We also feature works by local artists because we're proud of our community. If you have valued treasures to display and preserve, we're sure to have the perfect fit with our large selection of custom framing and display options. Whatever color, shape, or size, Picture This and More has the look you need. Stop by today and let us help you with your next project.
You're listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com.
But it's too late, baby, now it's too late. Though we really did try to make it.
10:03, top of the hour news, hitting you in the nose on this 10th day of July. We got a great 10 o'clock hour hitting you here. We're going to be talking to Lacy McDonald just in a couple of minutes or so. And then 10:30, we're going to be talking to former Mayor Brant Walker and now declared candidate for the mayor's seat for the city of Alton in 2025. You saw his letter to the editor, his statement yesterday. We'll talk about that and so much more at 10:30. But right now, here's what's happening around the River Bend, and here's what you need to know. We'll take you to Alton first. Dozens of community members joined the historic National Eucharistic Pilgrimage as it passed through Alton on Tuesday. The Blessed Sacrament has traveled from the 4 corners of the United States since May, with paths set to converge in Indianapolis later this month. Participants in Alton walked from Saints Peter and Paul Catholic Church to the St. Francis Convent Chapel, where they attended services and benediction. Sister Beata Ziegler highlighted the procession's focus on the Eucharist. Attendees expressed their devotion and described the experience as a renewal of faith. For more information, you can visit eucharisticpilgrimage.org. Granite City Community Unit School District Number 9 is partnering with the Madison County Health Department to host back-to-school physical and vaccine clinics starting Thursday, July 25th and Thursday, August the 8th from 1 to 4 p.m. at Granite City High School Gymnasium's Annex. The clinic offers physical immunizations and lead testing for students. Required school physicals and updated shot records are mandatory for incoming kindergartners, 6th graders, and high school freshmen. Appointments are preferred, but walk-ins are welcome as well. Insurance will be billed or hardship pricing options can be discussed. The first day of student attendance is Thursday, August the 15th, a day before this show turns 2 years old. Both the Alton Post 126 Under-15 Navy and Under-16 Red American Legion baseball teams are set for postseason play in the District 22 tournaments this weekend. The event runs July 12th through the 14th at Valmeyer and Roxana. With Highlands junior team withdrawing, only 3 clubs remain. The winner will advance to the 5th Division tournament with a chance to compete in the state tournament. Alton faces Valmeyer on Friday with potential games on Saturday and Sunday. The 5th Division playoffs are scheduled for July 19th through the 21st in Trenton, with the state tournament following from July 25th through the 28th in Jerseyville. That'd be great to go up and support the Alton Legion baseball team, and we'll keep you updated on how their games progress. The tennis courts at Minor Park in Glen Carbon are set to transform into 6 new pickleball courts by the end of the year. Following unanimous village board approval, the project, led by Public Works Director Scott Slemmer, involves constructing new post-tension concrete pickleball courts over the existing tennis courts and installing a new black vinyl coated chain link fence. Byrne & Jones Construction secured the project bid at $412,601.19, partially funded by a $100,000 DCEO grant and a $76,000 Madison County Park Enhancement Program grant. Construction expected to begin immediately and completed by the end of the year. That's a look at what's happening on this 10th day of July. We should be talking to Lacy McDonald in just about 3 minutes or so, and she's walking down the stairs. But hey, while I have you, are you looking for a fresh start on the road to recovery? Do you know of anyone that's really just struggling right now that could really use a change? Maybe just use a conversation? Let me fill you in on Centerstone. Centerstone's a national leader in mental health and substance use disorder treatment for people of all ages. They have a commitment that's out of this world, and they're committed to truly changing people's lives. Their dedicated clinicians use evidence-based practices in their treatment programs. So that means, listen up here. This is the cool part. This is why I love Centerstone. It's a recovery care plan that's developed for you. It's not a template that they use for 20 years and, well, we're going to go to stage 1 and stage 2. No. They get to know who you are. They get to know your health needs. They get to know what you need. And that recovery care plan is developed and tailor-made for you based on the latest science. Listen, there's so many unknowns on this road to recovery, but one thing you can know for sure is that Centerstone will be a constant guiding force for you on your recovery journey. Addiction can happen to anybody. We all know of somebody. We all know of a friend, a family member, even maybe it could be ourselves that are going through the ringer. But just realize, addiction can happen to anybody, and so can recovery. It can happen at any time. So you or your loved one could start working toward their recovery today by visiting Centerstone online at recoverwithus.org. That's recoverwithus.org. Or you can call 1-877-HOPE. 123. You can also join Centerstone and myself on the first and last Wednesday of each and every month as we tackle this very important topic. 10:09, that's the time on a Wednesday morning. We take a quick break, and Lacy McDonald joins us next.
Since 1993, Sparks Junk Removal is always adapting to the needs of our clients. That is why we now offer weekly trash pickup for selected areas. Plus, we offer driveway-safe rubber-tired dumpster rental. Give us a call today at 618-781-1407 or visit us at sparksjunkremoval.net.
Macias Insurance Agency, providing quality products with extremely competitive prices. As an independent provider, we source multiple companies to offer the best rates possible, covering auto, home, business, and life insurance. Our goal is to provide quality service that meets and exceeds customer expectations. You can rest easy knowing the Macias team is working round the clock to ensure that both you and the most important parts of your life are covered. Our qualified professionals make the insurance process easy so you can live carefree and focus on what matters most. Visit MaciasInsuranceAgency.com today to find out what our team can do for you.
Not sure if you've noticed, but those advertised prices from the other dealers are just a bunch of blah, blah, blah. At Roberts Motors, the advertised price is the price you pay. And that, my friend, is great news for you. Don't fall for their so-called incentives that will leave you banging your head against the wall. Go with Roberts Motors. Prices you can trust and people you will like. That's the Roberts Motors way. And trust me, it's the way to go.
Has free checking become a thing of the past? Not if Liberty has anything to say about it. With 3 free personal checking options and even a free business checking account, free is alive and well at Liberty Bank, the local bank that gives you free checking choices and more cashing in your pocket. Bank locally, bank Liberty. For more information, visit www.bankliberty.com.
Riverbender Radio has built 3 great new stations just for you in the Riverbend. The Eagle, the Riverbend's classic rock station. The Bridge, hit music for the Riverbend. And The River, today's country, and all your favorites. Check them out today at RiverBender.com.
Welcome back to our daily show. Here's CJ.
Welcome back, 1012. 4th of July celebrations in 1924 look similar to the celebrations of today in many ways. And that include blowing your hand off with some fireworks.
It did include blowing your hand off with some
That
fireworks.
is wild. You know,
yeah.
We never really talk about those things because it never can happen to us, right? Until it happens to us.
We're immune.
But, you know, I know of somebody who lost their hand in high school because of a fireworks accident. And did you see what happened in South Carolina?
Yes.
Number one,
Yes.
what family lets a drunk guy play with fireworks? I mean, you should have just taken Dad down there and just, but I mean, he blew his head off.
Yeah, I know.
It's terrible.
Well, I also feel like you can maybe try to take the fireworks away
and
from
then it
the
becomes a
drunk
domestic,
guy, and then that doesn't work.
Then the cops are coming, and then it's a whole thing. And, well, they came anyway, I guess.
Yeah,
But, you
can't
know,
win.
so this is wild. You wrote about a Henry Hurst, who
Yes.
was a 10-year-old boy that was not from Alton,
Not
but
from Alton.
visiting relatives in
Yes.
Alton. The Hurst family, Hurst is a pretty common name around here, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah. So I don't know. And it didn't even say if he was visiting family members with the same last name.
Yeah.
Like, there was nothing about anything else that he was doing here other than him getting burnt by a bunch of firecrackers.
So how did this happen? Because, number one, 350 firecrackers into one pocket?
I was really confused about
It's like
that.
the 90s with those pants that they all wore, you know?
Jinko
Yeah,
jeans.
was that
Oh yeah, you just put them every which way. That was actually the craziest part of the story because I couldn't figure out how he put 350 firecrackers in his pocket.
Thank you. I felt like an idiot all
No.
week because I read your story and I thought it
Yeah.
was great, but I could not get past the fact that 350 firecrackers fit in this pocket.
And it said a package, so it wasn't like he put a
Yeah,
whole
like,
bunch
it was
of
just
different
strung
individual.
along, yeah.
Like there was a package of 350 fireworks that could fit in one 10-year-old's pocket. So I don't know.
That's
I mean,
a hell of a sales pitch.
I don't know if I mean it's possible that that was a mistake when it was being written up,
Correct.
and now we're like focused on this one thing.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be
Right.
like
It's a menial thing,
35.
yeah.
And we're like, how is this possible? No, but yeah. So he was on his way home back to where he was staying, and he had 350 fireworks in his pocket, and some other kid stuck a light firework in his pocket. In the
Why?
same pocket, because
People were
10-year-olds are
mean back-
idiots.
But they were really mean back
I think it was just to be stupid. Like, I would not put that past a 10-year-old today.
That's true. Now, that's very
Like,
true.
You
You're right.
haven't developed all your brain yet. Like, you just
my
impulsively do stupid things. So this other 10-year-old who was unnamed stuck a lighted firecracker into Hurst's pocket, and not only did it explode, but the rest of the firecrackers exploded too. They had to be small because if 351 firecrackers are exploding in your pocket and you're fine 10 days later, how long it
Was
took
it
him to
like
heal.
the snappers?
Maybe, but they didn't specify. They didn't say.
Gosh dang it.
You know, maybe whatever
The
brand
Telegraph
that
had
was
to have
like
written this one.
Yeah. I can't say anything.
I had to throw
most
it out.
of what I use is from
know.
the Telegraph.
We
so.
would have known how these were. We would have known if this was a Brandon piece what type of fireworks.
Would have had a link to buy the 350 fireworks yourself.
That's true. That's true.
Sponsored content, fireworks. Yeah,
Oh,
so
I'm in
I
trouble
assume they were small enough that they were just like the little poppers or the little bitty fireworks. I also don't know what fireworks were like in 1924. Like what you could buy.
Yeah.
Maybe it was less
Like-
intense than what we have
I don't
available
know.
now.
But so they threw a lit firecracker
Yeah.
into his pocket.
Right.
And all three of them in the package, or all 350 of them in the package explode. But,
Yeah.
So his clothes ignite.
Yes.
And
Yes.
back then in 1924, those were pretty really, really great for fire starters, those clothing, because it was all woven, wasn't it?
You know what? I don't know. See, these are the details I want in these stories.
Thank you. I just, it's a whole thing, you know. I'm telling you, we got to call somebody. The author's probably dead of the story, but we'll find the relative. We'll figure this out.
We'll track down these facts for you.
Because to me, it's like that just goes up in an instant. It's just, I mean, there's no doubt about it. Wow. And so his legs burned, but there's no, do they mention any type of like missing flesh?
No. Well, I mean, I think that it was like, ignited the flesh of his leg. He was severely burned. I don't know. It just said his leg was torn in the follow-up article. So he still had his leg. He still seemed to have all of his fingers. I think a large portion of his leg was burned. But yeah, the biggest concern, because this is 1924, and as you've mentioned a million times, you stub your toe, you die.
Yes.
The biggest concern, once they were past the initial, shock and taking care of him, was just to make sure that he didn't develop an infection. So that was the big deal. What could have happened with that?
What's really wild is I had a staph infection that was really bad, and you don't think of it. I mean, back in the day, it was, and I was in high school playing soccer, and I got bit by a spider, didn't know about it, and all of a sudden I got kicked on the leg playing. I couldn't walk. And so we went, it was almost into my muscle system.
Oh my
gosh.
That's
modern medicine and all that. So it was a quick process. They drained it all out. But this, I mean, you're talking losing your limbs. You're talking losing everything because of the staph infection.
And dying.
Yeah, literally dying.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find what these firecrackers looked like in 1924.
Can you figure it out?
I have been on a little bit of a hunt the entire time. But an interesting part in this is that Calvin Coolidge, who was the president at the time, his son was going through something pretty nasty. What happened with it? Because I have never heard of this story.
Oh my gosh, it was crazy. So as I was looking for what to write about that week, the thing I kept coming back to was all these articles about Calvin Coolidge Jr., who was fighting this, what they called was blood poisoning, the whole week that I was looking at, and then died. And so I was like, well, that's not local. I'm not going to be able to use that. And then once I started looking at the firecracker thing, I was like, well, it's such a parallel.
Yeah.
Like a firecracker explosion and you're fine.
Yeah.
Versus Calvin Coolidge Jr. was playing tennis out on the lawn of the White House with his brother. He didn't wear socks. He was wearing shoes, didn't wear socks, developed a tiny blister, and then was dead like a week later because it got infected. So he was fine, and then he was dead.
So I found him.
You found the firecrackers?
I did. So let's go on the screen now. This is the National Fireworks Museum. I didn't know there was such a thing.
Oh, good call.
Their website does need some work, but I'll call them later. Let's see here. So this is a Rolodex of them. Okay.
Oh, cool.
So this is 30s to 40s. These are some tents and just things they look. But here's where we get to the interesting one. So here's the firecracker. Let me see if I can zoom in. Look how small these things are. Look at that.
Yeah, you could fit a lot of those in your pocket.
I can easily see that being in a carton, and that was from 1930s. But then it gets wild. Look at this. Hold on. This is from the 20s.
Oh,
this
wow.
is something you'd see today.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, these are from the 30s. This is what you would see in a fireworks stand today.
I like, too, that you can kind of tell eras by the decorations.
Yeah. Yes. It's so cool.
Yeah.
But, I mean, this is a 1908 firework book right here.
Wow.
That's why, anyway, I just had to find them because I'm like you. What did these darn things look like? I could see 350 fitting in a pocket. Man. It was dangerous being a kid back then.
It was very, very dangerous being a kid back then. Like, we've got our own problems in 2024, but child mortality was horrific 100 years ago.
Well, and just like you're saying about this, I mean, could you imagine you're the president of the United States, your son's playing tennis.
Yeah.
Out of all things, not doing anything wrong, literally just playing tennis.
Yeah.
And so he gets a little blister on his foot.
Tiny blister, yes.
Just from playing tennis, I guess. You're sweating and all that. And all of a sudden, you get infected. Did he have staph or blood put? Like what?
Well, I think it was staph. I looked around, and I want to say a website that was part of the Calvin Coolidge Presidential Foundation. So an article on their website said staph infection, and so that's what I went with. And
he did not wear socks.
He didn't wear socks. He just wasn't wearing socks. And they knew what was wrong. They knew he had an infection, but we didn't have any sort of antibiotics. We didn't have anything to do to fix the problem. So they identified the problem. He went through surgeries, all kinds of stuff, and just died.
I mean, but think about this, though. You're talking in a span of a week.
Yeah.
I mean, think
Yes.
of all the stress put on any age, but I mean, a child's body from
Right.
June 30th to July 7th to go
Right.
through procedural work and get all these things done just to hope.
Yeah.
You know-
and he was 16, so
Yes.
it's not even like it was a small child. I mean, this was someone that was almost full grown.
Yes.
And his body just couldn't fight the blood poisoning, the sepsis. So
Gosh, man,
that was
I
that.
I seriously could not imagine. I mean, a blister killing you.
Well, that was the crazy thing about a lot of illnesses, diseases, and stuff in the past is that you could go from being well to dead in such a short period of time. I
Right.
mean, with a lot of things that we have vaccines for now or that we have antibiotics, other medicines for, you would be fine and then you'd catch something and then you would be dead and it would be almost instantaneous. It was crazy.
But, you know, it's just amazing to me, though. And you know, we always think about just certain things. Could you imagine being the parent of the boy that lit that firework and put it in?
Oh, my gosh.
Shoot. Man, I wouldn't be going home. I'd be on the train with the sack on my shoulder, and I'd be hitchhiking across the country.
Get on an orphan train and get out of
Yep,
town.
Get out of there.
I mean, at least he was okay.
Yeah, thank God.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're talking staph infection in 1924 and a severely torn or burned leg and tears in it. I mean, that's just incredible that this kid did. I mean, thank God they didn't name his parents in the paper. That would have been kind of a nightmare.
Well, and I don't know anything about what happened to Henry Hurst when he left Alton like 2 weeks later because he was from, I think it said, the Ozarks.
Oh, gosh.
And so I couldn't search for him later. I couldn't find anything. If he lived in Alton,
Yeah,
that
you'd be
would have been
fine,
in his
yeah.
obituary. It would have
Yeah.
been like Henry Hurst, who when he was 10 was, severely burned by these firecrackers, died at 97 today, completely unrelated to anything. Like they just like to put in those little stories. So I could have followed him, but I don't know what happened to Henry Hurst. I wish him well.
And to the hope he did. Little did you know, Henry became a real jerk later on. No. But I think it's really cool, though, honestly, that, I mean, just looking at those fireworks pictures, I was expecting, like, some weird, you know how early developments are of those things. Like, I was expecting, like, triangles that had a little wick in them that you threw. It's amazing. It's amazing, though, that they were the same. I mean, they're almost identical. And they haven't changed at all.
Yeah, and they're still dangerous.
They're still very dangerous. Did you see the guy that decided to twist those two mortar bombs together and he lit them? Which, I mean, let's be honest, I've done some stupid stuff. But, what happened is he was an idiot and got scared and kicked it over. Oh. And then it got the rest of his fireworks, too. So it, blew up like $500 of fireworks in front of about 12, of his family members. Probably not getting invited back to any Christmas stuff.
I love fireworks, but I like professionally shot fireworks that are far away from me.
The fireworks on the Mississippi.
Yeah,
Best fireworks show display out there, And so when you're writing these, how difficult is it to find all these kind of connecting pieces? Because, obviously with a story like this, there's not too much detail in it, from the initial article, because obviously what can you put in there with the 10-year-old boy losing part of his leg or getting hurt? How difficult was this one?
This one was one of the ones where I started writing it and then I found out what it was going to be about.
Gotcha.
Because I'll have a list of some possibilities, like the one I'm not for next week, but for a couple weeks from now, I'm either going to write about flower selling or a fire at the auto dump. So one of those two things. Yeah.
Wow.
But I don't know which one's interesting yet because I found an initial article for each that sounded really interesting. But until I try to do some more background information, I don't know if it's going to be super boring. So this one was pretty easy because I had Calvin Coolidge and Calvin Coolidge Jr. in my head as I started writing the 4th of July. I knew I wanted it to be about the 4th of July. And what I thought I was going to write about was not that interesting. Like there was a huge party at Rock Spring Park and they went on and on about how many people were there. And it was, there were cars and that was exciting. But no one wants to read an article about how many cars there were at Rock Spring Park.
I would find it fascinating. Anything you do, I find fascinating, Lacey.
Well, thank
Come
you,
on.
CJ. I'll write a little something just for you.
I like our 10-10 spot, though. I think this is a good spot.
Good. This is good. I like it, too.
So what's your takeaway before I let you go? We've already been chatting for 17 minutes or so.
My gosh,
Isn't it crazy how fast this goes by? What's your takeaway on fireworks 100 years ago?
Oh, wow. My takeaway on fireworks 100 years ago is kind of my takeaway on everything 100 years ago, which is don't get hurt.
I'm telling you. I'm just telling you. That Million Ways to Die in the West was very accurate.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Yeah.
I always enjoyed chatting with you, Lacey.
Yeah, me
Thanks
too.
for your insights. And then we'll talk again next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday.
On one of the two articles. Maybe both. Who
It's
knows?
Prohibition. Next week's Prohibition.
Oh, next week's
It's going to be
Prohibition?
really fun. Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
My least favorite topic. Are you guys ready to reduce your energy bills? Grid Solar LLC here to help you make the switch to solar power. Solar energy is sustainable and a cost-effective solution that benefits both your wallet and the planet. Now, did you see that Illinois is changing this aggregate program with Ameren? So if you don't lock in now, you aren't going to get that 100% or, all those great benefits. Some of them are starting to get pulled back next year. Ameren just made that decision, and Grid Solar was on the show informing you. That's why I want to work with them, because they're well-versed and they study everything. I mean, if they know about it, they'll know about it before any other company, and they're calling their other competitors going, hey, just making sure you know, for your customers' sake. Hey, the experienced team committed to delivering high-quality solar installations with exceptional service. Visit GridSolarLLC.com, request your free solar design, and find out how solar energy can work for you. Embrace the future with Grid Solar, your trusted solar partner in the Metro East. That's GridSolarLLC.com. Oh, wait. What's coming up that you need to promote?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So today at 6, and then the same program is happening on Saturday at 10. We're having Dee Kilgo come speak about George Caleb Bingham and the river paintings.
Yeah.
She is incredible. She has a PhD, is a professor emerita of art history at Illinois State University. So the program tonight is at the Performance Room at Alton Square Mall. And then the program on Saturday is at the Genealogy and Local History Library. There's room still in both. So if you are interested in registering, there's more information on the website, on the Hainer website, on our calendar. And you can register at 1-800-613-3163. And both events should be a really fantastic time. So please come.
Great live read.
Thank you.
When I got in the car accident at the ER, they gave me a prescription of hydrocodone. And over time, it took more medication to mask the pain. I moved over to drug seeking and found heroin and fentanyl. I went to the Centerstone rehab facility, and it was the best decision I ever made in my life. I have my own car. I have a job. There's nothing holding me back anymore.
Dream Home Realty Center.
Hey, Sherry, talk to me, Dream Team.
We've got showing.
Yo, what up? It's Mike Keith, the proud graduate of Lewis and Clark Community College. I got my start in broadcasting and now I work all over the country. I discovered my path in media, but I could have been an electrician. Or I could have been a nurse.
Maybe not.
We are Phillips 66 Wood River Refinery. We make the fuels that take us to work and our children to school. We make materials and energy products that allow us to stay connected to each other. We care about the quality and safety of our products because we care about the communities we share. Our employees live our values of safety, honor, and a commitment to act as good neighbors where we live and operate. We are Phillips 66.
Welcome back to our daily show. Here's CJ.
Welcome back, 10:31. A little bit of change on this Wednesday morning. The former mayor of Alton and now candidate for Alton Mayor again, Brant Walker, joins us in studio. How are we doing this Wednesday?
Not too bad. Good morning, CJ. We weathered the storm last night.
Okay. How much? Do we know how much rain we got?
I don't know. I would say it's got to be close to 2 to 4 inches easy, though, in a short period of time.
Absolutely. Well, a couple of weeks ago, you made the decision to announce your candidacy for the Alton Mayor seat after 2 terms already. Right off the bat, what was the decision to announce again and decide that this was a path you wanted to pursue?
Well, there were several things that played into it. A lot of it is just basically general decline and neglect in the city. And it's easy enough to see if you just drive around town. The roads, the parks, a lot of the fountains aren't back on or are not working. Parks are becoming overgrown. Streets are getting worse, up to and including, the crime. I've had 4 shootings in front of my house since February of last year. One where there was a gentleman shooting in my driveway at a neighbor.
Wow.
Yeah, and there was a 6 o'clock on a Tuesday evening. So there have been 4 shootings on State Street in less than 18 months.
And, on State Street, too, especially in that corridor, there's a lot of development going on in that area. It seemed like people were fixing their houses up and trying. And, you have a pulse on that neighborhood. What are the thoughts there just in that section?
Everybody's afraid. Yeah. Unfortunately, and that doesn't normally happen up there, up to and including, some of the, like when Lucy's Playhouse got shot up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it seems like things have just declined or are completely absent. Economic development, I haven't seen much, if any. I haven't seen actually any other than what we left in process when we left office. Streets have declined, parks have declined. The city is generally headed in a bad direction.
And now, since you left office, what have things been like? What's your background been? What have you been working on?
Oh, I went back to what I've done for the previous probably 30 years. I went back into the employment industry, and it's been very, very good. So I can't complain. I had strategic search services from 1999 until 2013, the election, and I sold the company to a Snelling office, who I had worked for Snelling before I went off and went independent. After I left office, I tried to get strategic search services back. However, someone had bought my domain. So
we know that pretty well.
I wasn't aware that was a big issue, so I started Lighthouse Hiring. I didn't have any issues getting that domain, and we took off from that 3.5 years ago.
Well, and you're talking about employment, right now, if you look on social media, look on any business page, people are looking for employees big time.
Yes.
Right now, the business owners are working, well over 16 hours a day just to keep the lights on because no one's coming in. Do you have any thoughts on ways that a Walker administration could help that process?
Well, very similar, I think, to when we were in office. Some of the things we did to help businesses, we implemented a business retention program, which meant basically myself and depending whatever department head was relevant to the conversation with a business owner, whether it be out of the Economic and Development Office, whether it be a public works situation, we would go out, talk to the community, find out what they were doing, letting them know what programs we have, whether it be facade grants, TIF money that's available, how to do it. We'll walk you through it. And for the last 4 years we're in office, we froze property taxes for businesses and homeowners, which meant lower cost on your insurance.
100%. And now going forward,
not on your insurance, I'm sorry, but we lowered the cost of your property tax. We helped and lower the cost of insurance when I was in office because we got an ISO rating in our fire department, which would lower the cost of your homeowner's insurance and your business insurance. So we tried to help out through taxes and lowering the general cost of doing business in the community, which leaves you more money to invest.
Well, and let's talk about those 8 years when you were in office, those 2 terms. What are you most proud of in those 2?
Oh my gosh, there would be a lot. I mean, was really proud of the amount of park work and things we brought to the community. The cool thing, I don't know how to say it, affordable family fun things, better streets, better parks, better sidewalks, up to and including a splash pad at the riverfront. More use on our riverfront because when we took office, there wasn't anything going on at the amphitheater, food truck festivals. Getting the turf fields at the park, which brought in a semi-pro football league, which I believe may still be free for admission. Very good football. The ability to help, I believe Marquette uses our turf fields out as their home field. That was great, so they could actually bring in, when they qualify for state, they could actually host state tournaments. We have the River Dragons working very closely with business, like we just described. We were able to work with the Hall Group and put together a package for them where they would invest $30 million of their own money into the mall, which brought a movie theater, which I still think may have $5 Tuesdays.
They do. I just checked it out.
Well, I've been busy during the day. And then if you look at, some of the really neat stuff like the national recognitions we got. We were recognized as a great place to work and live and raise a family by the Travel Channel. I wrote some of these down. The Travel Channel named Alton as one of the top 50 most charming small towns in America. Forbes magazine named Alton the best place to retire to in Illinois. AARP named Alton as one of the top 10 places to live for seniors in Illinois and the nation. The city of Alton also won season 3 of Deluxe's Small Business Revolution, which was, I want to say, one of the highlights.
I want to touch on that because, anyone, regardless of how you feel politically, that was a special time to be in Alton during the Small Business Revolution. The morale was there. It was really strong. And that was right before the COVID pandemic, correct? Take me through just where the city was at before COVID came into play.
Honestly, what a spotlight. How often does any community get a spotlight for anything positive?
Yeah.
I don't think and I can't remember, there were thousands of cities that applied for that. And I believe the young man's name was Eric that worked at Old Bakery Brewery, wrote the letter, got us going. The city across every sector came together and we pulled in an entire nation. I think we even got votes from Australia.
Did we really?
To win that. The feeling was, you could walk around town and it just, I don't know how to explain a feeling, but it just felt better. The lights went on downtown because of that. I think 6 businesses got massive upgrades in infrastructure, advertising, put them back on the map. It was a really, really good time, a very, very unique, special time in our community.
Absolutely, and kind of speaking of unique, it's pretty rare for a community to vote for somebody who's already been in office before, where we've seen the track record, we've seen the 8 years of results. Whenever you're talking with constituents so far, have they mentioned those 8 years? Have there been any conversations about the good, the bad, the ugly, and now move forward? Because you are in a spot that others wouldn't be in because you've already been in that position.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe there's a leadership and a vision that we had, that as a community we had with our administration, that was pushing the city forward in both the parks, the millions of dollars in grant money, MFT money that we were able to gain. I think it was $4 or $6 million in the streets and grants and about $10 million in our parks. I wrote that down too. So we put in millions and millions of dollars into that, and along with winning like Small Business Revolution, we experienced more than $116 million in private capital investment, and we issued a record number of business licenses during our 8 years. So that did not go unnoticed.
No, and currently right now there's all these developments coming on in the city of Alton. You see, business or the Lucas Row building is now starting to be worked on. Some other properties. What are your thoughts going forward, just on some of that, Alton work development, and is it good in your opinion for the city?
Yeah, I would like to know. As Alton Works came in under my administration, and I went to the New Year's Eve party when John said he's going to do the Grand and the Stratford Hotel. So we're looking forward to some of the vision that he had. I'm very curious and interested to see how that, now that we have some things coming out of the ground, for lack of a better term, or being restored, what those look like moving forward. But initially, when I was in office, it all sounded good.
Absolutely. And now I wanted to speak with you about Gordon Moore, because you put out a letter to the editor, talking about just the lack of transparency that's going on, in your opinion, from the current administration. You guys have faced crisis in the 8 years. There's always something that happens. Take me through how your administration combated some of these things. You guys had the Riverview Park collapse and so much more. How did the Walker administration tackle things differently?
Well, yeah, we handled 10 floods. I believe there were 5 top 10 floods when there, and we had a number 2 flood. We also had Summit Street during a massive rain event fall off the bluff. Also, during another massive rain and flood event, we also lost Riverview, which we were the administration that got Riverview and the FEMA approval to repair that. One thing I definitely know, including up to a pandemic and some civil arrest situations in the Alton areas we were in the administration, you don't quell people's anxiety or questions by not being transparent, i.e. having a meeting at City Hall to discuss the situation at Gordmore Park with the fields, and then don't include the press, don't include the River Dragons, don't include the individuals that manage Spencer T. Olin, the golf course for us. So let's exclude everybody that has an interest in there, including the community, because that's not a city park. I'm proud of the work that the city did for the city, but that is a regional park. That is a jewel for our community, and it has been since Dr. Moore put it on the map for us. So to do that, we would have not gotten through the floods we went through. We would have not survived the pandemics. We gave updates every Friday on the pandemic, where we were, what the governor said. You don't quell innuendos and anxiety through secretive meetings. And that's basically what they're doing. There's no information up to including Channel 5. 1 week later,
Still no answers.
still
What's the
no
headline?
answers.
What's
Let's
the
have a
headline?
press conference and not include anybody, or let's have a meeting with the mine and not include the press, not include anyone. It's sad.
Well, and going on top of that, too, Gordon Moore, I mean, this community, the region, you hit it right on the head, has so much history there. I mean, you know, we can go all day about, you know, my family, the Optimists, all the blood, sweat, and tears put in on that field. But, you know, going forward, it's probably going to be a little bit harder to convince parents after it's all said and done it's safe to play there. It could be. I don't know. We can't predict the future. Do you have any suggestions on how we could maybe bring back the soccer fields in a different, maybe a safer location?
Not at this time. I know the north side has the area for it. I don't know what the mine special is, but I know that once they fix it, you can't quell people's concerns, because imagine if that would have collapsed on a Saturday.
Right.
When the soccer fields were full, we'd be having a totally different conversation. But there's going to be a perception issue. I know you definitely, even say they bring it back and it is completely safe, and the folks that know what safe means for mining, putting the piers in and shoring up the area, if it were to come back, with no communication with the community, no communication with anybody, you're not going to be able to quell the perception that it's not safe, especially when you operate in secrecy. So, but initially my gut feeling would be, depending on the mining, if you wanted to reintroduce what we had and moving forward, because we actually had a plan to develop the north side, there is room on the north side.
And with that being said, you had some moment to stick around. I got to pay one bill.
Me?
Yeah, do you have a moment to stick around?
Yeah. Do you need an extra one or two? I got some for you.
At 10:43, we'll take a quick break. My last break of the day, I got to pay this bill. We'll come back with former Mayor Brant Walker, and now candidate for the Alton Mayor seat in 2025 after this.
Since 1993, Sparks Junk Removal is always adapting to the needs of our clients. That is why we now offer weekly trash pickup for selected areas. Plus, we offer driveway-safe rubber-tired dumpster rental. Give us a call today at 618-781-1407 or visit us at sparksjunkremoval.net.
Macias Insurance Agency, providing quality products with extremely competitive prices. As an independent provider, we source multiple companies to offer the best rates possible, covering auto, home, business, and life insurance. Our goal is to provide quality service that meets and exceeds customer expectations. You can rest easy knowing the Macias team is working round the clock to ensure that both you and the most important parts of your life are covered. Our qualified professionals make the insurance process easy so you can live carefree and focus on what matters most. Visit MaciasInsuranceAgency.com today to find out what our team can do for you.
Not sure if you've noticed, but those advertised prices from the other dealers are just a bunch of blah, blah, blah. At Roberts Motors, the advertised price is the price you pay. And that, my friend, is great news for you. Don't fall for their so-called incentives that will leave you banging your head against the wall. Go with Roberts Motors. prices you can trust, and people you will like. That's the Roberts Motors way. And trust me, it's the way to go.
Has free checking become a thing of the past? Not if Liberty has anything to say about it. With 3 free personal checking options and even a free business checking account, free is alive and well at Liberty Bank, the local bank that gives you free checking choices and more cashing in your pocket. Bank locally, bank Liberty. For more information, visit www.bankliberty.com.
Riverbender Radio has built 3 great new stations just for you in the Riverbend. The Eagle, the Riverbend's classic rock station. The Bridge, hit music for the Riverbend. And The River, today's country, and all your favorites. Check them out today at RiverBender.com.
Welcome back to our daily show. Here's CJ.
10:47, that's the time on this Wednesday morning. We're continuing our conversation with former Mayor Brant Walker and now candidate for Alton Mayor in 2025. You announced pretty early on in June, at the end of June or beginning of July.
Correct.
What was the decision to get that announcement out there as early as you did?
Well, I think it was important. Timing can be everything. And when you're coming up to a general election, which we have coming up in November, and we have the holiday season coming up starting the 4th of July and vacations and kids go back to school, I saw an opportunity with a lull in maybe the attention span or what was going on at Gordon Moore Park, the secrecy there, and an opportunity when people really focus on what's going on in Alton, it might be a good time before we get back to the general election.
Absolutely. And now recently going on downtown, I mean, this has been the talk of the area the last couple of years, it seems like, with a lot of situations that are turning quite dangerous for citizens and visitors alike that want to go down and patronize our local businesses. From your perspective, what have you heard about maybe any action being done? What would you suggest on how to combat this really bad problem?
Well, any action that will be going on, let's be honest, there's not going to be any action taken by this current administration. It will be status quo. They seem very comfortable with what's going on. I don't see any radical changes coming through council and or this mayor. One of my good friends was just assaulted downtown less than 3 weeks ago, and I believe maybe not last Saturday, but Saturday before, there was another gun discharge down there. There definitely needs to be a stronger police presence and maybe correct some of the things, identify what the problem is and address the problem. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's all good, but busy guy. But I mean, Andrew, didn't you have the roof go off yesterday?
Yeah, last night in the storm, I had some roof issues.
But you're right. But going back to this, it just seems like people are pointing fingers at the wrong institutions, in my opinion. Where you're maybe putting the blame on the bigger bars in downtown because they're the bigger bars. But how do you really solve that problem? Is it just getting down to the square root of what's causing this?
It is, and we address that let's take that same problem, but let's take it in a rental situation.
Okay.
And I'm a landlord. So we identified over the time we were in office that we had a significant issue with landlords and tenants in the community. Not all landlords. Most landlords in the town do a great job, but there's a percentage of them that cause a lot of problems, and it also causes decline in our the people that own homes by bad properties decreases their property values. Mm-hmm. We also noticed that 70% of all crimes seem to be coming right out of the rental areas or the rental homes. So what we did was we didn't alter the business, we tried to alter the behavior. So you went after the bad actors. If you're a good landlord, you have no problems. We're actually here to help you in a lot of situations from other bad characters that may be in and around your properties. You don't attack the business, you attack the root of the problem and you address the behavior that's going on. That's why before they unfunded, I had police officers in building and zoning to address those crime issues, which were significant in our rental properties. So we didn't address the business, don't address the good businesses downtown, figure out what the problem is. I don't know if it's loitering. I don't know if it's minors drinking. I don't know if it's people drinking in parking lots. Whatever that problem has been identified over the last several years, identify that problem, deal with the problem. Then if you have bad actors downtown that own businesses, then you deal with them.
Absolutely. And, you know, one point was made, and it was made to me a couple of weeks ago, just about the increase in someone, in their opinion, about the decrepit properties, the ones that aren't really looking as well as they should, even vacant at times, and now it's getting, in their opinion, getting worse. Are you seeing that?
Yeah.
And how do you combat that? Is it just code enforcement? What's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, it would be, again, it always comes back down to code enforcement and being more stricter, and then the code enforcement has to go along with the prosecutor or the city attorney that's going to step up in the court to say we're not putting up with this anymore. So writing the tickets, and I mean necessarily grass and weeds, but the other ones too, the dilapidated properties that people live in. No one should have to live in a deplorable property. Holding homeowners and landlords accountable for the conditions of their property would be the key.
And, you know, the other day there was, with all of this, you know, news with Studio 420, there was a statement that came out talking about just the business kind of closing down here in the Alton location. Alderman Ray Strabel said that this problem with Studio 420 started under your administration. And I wanted to ask you now, do you agree with that? What are your thoughts on that statement?
If it started on us, it would have been a very premature start because we were under COVID. I do remember him coming into the office, and I can't remember the guy's name was Sean or something. You remember his name?
Luke Yinger.
I don't remember his name. I apologize. It goes Jeremy maybe or something like that. And he came into the office and he'd wanted the Cherry Street property, which was condemned. I said, no, you're not getting that. Because I was a little suspect of where this guy came from out of the blue with all this money. So we demoed the Cherry Street building behind him. We didn't sell it to him. The only issue we really had with him, because he was just getting out of the gate, was the pool situation. And we said, well, I don't think the zoning wasn't right for a built-in swimming pool. So then I believe he had a lawyer contact us, and he said, well, it's commercial residential, and we're going to take that it's a residence and this and that. And then the argument was, do we want to go to court over a $400,000 swimming pool on Broadway with a high probability of losing? And I'll be honest with you, I don't really recall if he was open or not. If he was open, it was just barely because of all the COVID restrictions.
And I just wanted to ask that. It's only fair that you get your opportunity to respond to these. And another question that I do have for you, when we get back to just the morale, right now it just seems like there's not a lot of younger people that are really ready to plant the roots here. It seems like, you know, in my generation, let's go find the greener pasture out of state in St. Louis, Florida, you name it, and then if everything goes well, we'll move back home when the parents get older.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on how we can, you know, retain those young minds, those, you know, and a lot of them brilliant minds that are hard workers and want to do the good work for the next generation? Do you have a plan on or any thoughts on how to retain those younger kids?
Sure, we absolutely should retain those younger kids, and it's always going to go back to what we talked about before. One, Alton, we should not be going through this. This is a direct. Every problem we have in this failed administration directly comes from the top and through council approval on what's going on in the community. Code enforcement should have never been defunded and got rid of police out of there. That would have solved a lot of our problems. Number two, anytime you have calls for service go up, property values go down, businesses, young people, no one's going to want to invest in a community where this is going up on the bad side, particularly police calls. That's ultimately going to mean your property values are going to go down. So we have to address what's causing this over here. Once this goes down, you'll see the scale tip back up. Because honestly, why wouldn't you want to live in Alton? We have the history, we have the architecture, we have the historic districts, we have, I think, 1,600 or 1,700 acres of parks. We have the amphitheater downtown with splash pads. We have movie theaters. We have great shopping, great dining. But if we don't address this, what you mentioned will continue to happen, and we will be a failing city.
And going forward, throughout the next, you know, couple of months, we got less than a year away from the election at this point in April of 2025. How important is it for you to get out and just talk to the citizens again and have those conversations? Because I'm sure, just like anyone that has a tenure in any type of public service, there's thoughts on all across the board in all different categories of good, bad, indifferent. How important is it for you to go out there and communicate with the citizens of Alton and get their thoughts on a potential Walker third term?
Yeah, it's absolutely critical. I think that you started to see some of that empathy last election. I think it was the lowest voter turnout in Alton history. Yep. So for whatever reason, people were turned off, and it continues. We're starting to see that slide now from where it was in 13. I'm not voting. For whatever reason, I just kind of give up. Mm-hmm. We've got to turn that around and get it back to when we won Small Business Revolution, that this is the train that can, not the train that can't. And we've lost that somewhere.
And going forward, too, and this is something that I've said here on this show a couple of months ago, was when I looked at some of the crime rankings for the city of Alton and just the Riverbend. Crime right now in downtown Alton is ranked as an F because of just all the calls that are coming in. And, you know, you were talking about Alton being named one of the best places to live. How do we get back to that? Because I know there was a report that came out and that said that Alton was actually, in fact, one of the worst places to live in the state.
When we were talking about everything that we had won with even Netflix decorating our downtown and Small Business Revolution and Forbes, the ranking that this administration has come up with is moneyinc.com. From national rankings, we went all the way to one of the 20 worst places to live in Illinois, period. Wow. That can't happen. And that strictly comes from infrastructure, dilapidated properties, and rising crime. So to get us back on track won't be easy. Crime-free housing wasn't easy, but it was working. If we have problems in our downtown area, probably going to be a little bit tough to correct that behavior because they've become accustomed to whoever's doing that behavior downtown is going to have to change how they behave downtown, or they can't come downtown.
And going forward, if anyone's interested and wants to just reach out to you, get your thoughts about your campaign going forward, are you willing to take those conversations and those emails and to give out that information and make sure they know?
Yeah, absolutely. I've got Brant Walker from Mayor.com. My phone number's on there, and still people feel free to stop by my house anytime when they do.
Well, I really appreciate it coming by today, especially being so early on. I just wanted to make sure that we had the opportunity to chat a little bit because we know when the general election comes into play, it's going to get a little busy. And then after that, you're going to hit the ground running, I'm pretty sure.
We will. And it goes back to what we said in our announcement. You know, we have done better and we will do better. And this city deserves better than what they're getting out of their government right now.
Former Mayor Brant Walker and now candidate for Alton Mayor in 2025. Thank you so much for your time.
CJ, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
No problem. We'll take a quick break. The time's 10:57, and we'll come back and wrap up the Wednesday morning that was right here on RiverBender.com, Roku TV.
Get paid to go solar. We're not solar bros. At Grid, we're solar pros. We explain the process behind solar power so you can make an informed decision. We'll work with you to make owning your power as simple as possible and affordable with zero down financing and payment options. Our only goal is to save you money. Call Grid when you're ready to be independent of the power company.
I had an amazing experience with Dr. Haug and her team. I came here when I was 10 years old to get my braces on. Now I'm 28 years old, braces off, and I get so many compliments on my smile. It's helped me thrive in my career as a news reporter, and also as Miss Missouri USA, I took the stage with confidence, knowing my smile was gonna make me look like $1 million. I've never felt better and more confident because of my smile.
Life's better when you're under the American Family Insurance roof because they know your house is home base for their dreams. Whether it's a kid like me aiming for the big leagues, future rocket scientist, or a budding prima ballerina. When you feel totally protected, your family's free to pursue their dreams. She's good.
Let's go.
American Family Insurance.
I am out of time, but I'll see you live at 9 tomorrow for more of our daily show at Got Faith, Blog Talk, and so much more. So join me then, won't you? Have a great day. Try your best to stay out of jail. And I'll see you tomorrow.